This is Artemis II. And right now, 4 astronauts are farther from Earth than any humans have been in over 50 years. Imagine this. Just 3 days ago, on April 1st, 2026, NASA's massive Space Launch System rocket roared to life at Kennedy Space Center in Florida. At 6:35 p.m. Eastern Time, it lifted off carrying the Orion spacecraft named Integrity. And inside were 4 brave explorers on a 10-day journey that will swing them around the moon and bring them safely home. But why is NASA sending people back to the moon right now, after more than half a century? And who are these astronauts actually flying this historic mission? Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly what's happening up there and why this moment could change humanity's future forever. So, Artemis II is the first crewed flight of NASA's new deep space program. It's not landing on the moon yet. That comes with Artemis III. Instead, this mission is the ultimate test drive. The 4 astronauts are flying farther into space than anyone since Apollo 17 in 1972. They're pushing Orion's life support systems, navigation, and heat shield to the absolute limit in the harsh environment of deep space. Everything they learn will make sure the next crews can actually walk on the lunar surface and one day reach Mars. Think of it like this. Apollo was the sprint to the moon. Artemis is the marathon that builds a permanent home there. The mission launched perfectly on April 1st. Right now, as you're watching this, the crew has already left Earth orbit, completed their big translunar injection burn, and is speeding toward the moon. In a few days, they'll fly just a few thousand miles above the lunar surface, take incredible photos, run science experiments, and then slingshot back home for a Pacific Ocean splashdown around April 11th. But here's the part that always gives me chills. Why is NASA doing all of this? It's not just about planting flags. Artemis II is the next giant leap toward making humanity multiplanetary. NASA wants to create a sustainable presence on the moon, a base where astronauts can live and work for weeks or months. That base will be the proving ground for the technologies we'll need to send humans to Mars. Plus, international partners like Canada are on board, which means this is truly a global effort for all of humanity. Now let's meet the 4 extraordinary people making history right now. First, the commander, Reid Wiseman. Reid is a U.S. Navy test pilot from Baltimore, Maryland. He's a veteran of the International Space Station. He spent 6 months up there in 2014. As commander, Reid is in charge of the entire mission. He makes the final calls on everything from course corrections to emergency procedures. He's the steady hand guiding Integrity through deep space. Next up is the pilot, Victor Glover. Victor is from Pomona, California. He's a former Navy fighter pilot and was the first person of color to fly a long-duration mission to the International Space Station aboard SpaceX's Crew Dragon in 2020. On Artemis II, Victor is responsible for flying the spacecraft, monitoring the systems, and helping with navigation. He's the one making sure Orion stays on course as they race toward the moon. Then, we have mission specialist Christina Koch. Christina grew up in Jacksonville, North Carolina. She's an engineer and physicist who holds the record for the longest single spaceflight by a woman, 328 days on the ISS. On this mission, Christina is handling science experiments, operating the robotic systems, and making sure the crew's life support and spacecraft systems are working perfectly. She's also the first woman to fly beyond low Earth orbit on a lunar mission. And finally, mission specialist Jeremy Hansen from the Canadian Space Agency. Jeremy is from London, Ontario, Canada. He's a former fighter pilot and physicist who joined the Canadian Space Agency in 2009. This is his first spaceflight ever, and he's making history as the first Canadian and the first non-American to travel to the moon's vicinity. Jeremy is focused on international science experiments, helping with spacecraft operations, and representing the global partnership that makes Artemis possible. These 4 aren't just astronauts. They're test pilots, engineers, scientists, and explorers who have trained together for years. Every single one of them grew up looking at the moon and wondering if they could ever go there. Now they're actually doing it. Picture what they're seeing right now. Earth shrinking behind them into a beautiful blue marble, the vast blackness of space, and soon the moon growing larger in their windows. They're taking photos, running tests, and probably cracking a few jokes to keep the mood light. Because even in deep space, humans are still humans. In the next few days, they'll perform the closest lunar flyby in decades, capture stunning high-resolution images of the moon's surface, and test how Orion handles the intense radiation and extreme temperatures far from Earth. This mission is the bridge between the Apollo era and the future we've all been dreaming about. So why does Artemis II matter to you? Because every time humans push beyond our planet, we bring back knowledge that improves life here on Earth. Better technology, new materials, medical breakthroughs, and most importantly, inspiration. The same inspiration that got you to click on this video and watch until the end. If you're still here, you're part of the generation that gets to watch humanity return to the moon. And that's pretty amazing. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want to follow the rest of the Artemis program, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I'm making more space videos just like this one. Next up, we'll dive into what happens when humans actually land on the moon again. Drop a comment below. Which astronaut's story surprised you the most? And would you want to fly to the moon one day? Thanks for watching, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next video.
Let's go for your left.
Great call out. The rocket is on its own. 4 brave explorers ready to ride the most powerful
25.
rocket NASA has ever launched. 20. Sound suppression water is flowing.
15.
And here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7. RS-25 engines lit. 4, 3, 2, 1. Booster ignition. And liftoff. The crew of Artemis II now bound for the moon. Humanity's next great voyage begins.